Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Mindy and I'm a homeschooling mom to 4. Today I'm going to be showing you my third graders curriculum picks. We are well into our 4th or 5th week of school and I have yet to post this video. I'm just having a really hard time finding time to film and things like that. But here I am and I'm doing it now. So I just want you to keep in mind that when I'm showing you these curriculum picks, they are specifically hand chosen for my daughter. I am well aware of her individual needs, her individual interests, her individual learning styles. And so I want you to be thinking about that as I'm showing you the curriculum that I am using. I am a former elementary school teacher. I taught for 10 years in the public school system before I switched to homeschooling, and this is our 6th year of homeschooling. I have homeschooled this particular child from the very beginning. So just as a reminder, my daughter is going into 3rd grade, or we are doing 3rd grade. However, you will see that I'm using some resources that are leveled for different levels. You might see some grade 2 things in there or whatever, but just disregard that and remember that I know what is best for her and this is where she is at in her learning. And if you have any questions, you can ask me down below in the comments. So let's get to it. All right, this is for my New York State homeschooling friends. For everybody else, this really won't make any sense, but this is my iHip. Up above here, this is all of our personal information that I've just gotten rid of. So I'm just gonna scroll down through this so you can see what I turned in for my iHip, because I know that I have a lot of New York friends who are very interested in seeing on what I put on my iHip. So there is that. Okay, if you've been following me for any length of time, one of the biggest changes I'm making this year is I'm getting away from the good and the beautiful. So last year I used the good and the beautiful language arts level 2 when we were doing 2nd grade. I did not make it through the entire course year. I will use this just very sparingly, but this is not going to be my core. This is where I ended for 2nd grade. For 3rd grade, technically I'm starting at lesson 36, but this is just guys, I'm picking and choosing what I want to use and I'm not using everything in this. I am making a major shift in my ELA. So let's see here. We're going to start with ELA. So for reading specifically, this is going to be my core. This is Evan Moore's Reading Comprehension Fundamentals. I really wanted to make sure that my daughter was getting the skills that she needs. So it has things in here like making inferences, point of view, author's purpose, so on and so forth. And so we are absolutely really loving this so far. What I'm doing is making copies of it so that I can use it with my other children as they are moving up. So I have this piece right here for the comprehension fundamentals. And then I have this skill sharpeners. This is just a little fun extra connecting piece to practice those skills. And what I love about this is that it's in color, but it's just practicing those skills with different stories. There's fiction and nonfiction in here. So here's a look at the table of contents. Whoop. Okay, so there's that. So for instance, we're in September and right now we are reading Johnny Appleseed. So you just saw a Harriet Tubman one. Harriet Tubman, sorry guys. Okay, so here's the Johnny Appleseed. This is what we're reading this month. And then it just has some things about apples, how they grow, has questions about the story. And then it has things like tell it in order, beginning, middle, end. And then it even has parts of the apple tree and some vocabulary, a fill in the blank, put it in alphabetical order, adding AD, or I'm sorry, not putting in alphabetical order, the sounds of A. That was something we did last time. Oh, here we go. Here's alphabetical order. Okay, so this is all just for Johnny Appleseed. So you pick and choose what you want to use, basically. So there's that. For language, this is what I'm using for language fundamentals, those grammar pieces. So nouns, adjectives, pronouns, verbs, adverbs. This is going very well. Also, again, I'm just making copies of this so I can use it for my other children moving up. but she is doing very well with both of these things so far, and I'm absolutely loving this switch to the Evan Moore. For writing, I have two things here. How to write a story, grades 1 through 3. Now this is for your creative writing. So like this focuses on like beginning, middle, and end. How I write a story. This is like all creative writing things here. And then this is, it's my little sticky note for myself. This is text-based writing, and I absolutely love this as well. Something that I really did not love about The Good and the Beautiful was that it really lacked in the writing component. And I wanted to make sure that we were getting writing in there. So we have just, again, started with this. And let's see here. We just did this piece here. So let me give you one example. So they read a selection, North American owls. They're comparing and contrasting two types of owls. They answer a couple of questions, get them thinking about it. They complete a Venn diagram, and then they write it here. And I'm just going to, on the screen, I'm just gonna pop up right now her final piece. This took us, I would say like 2 weeks to work on, because writing this type of writing with using evidence-based writing is new for her this year. And so I'll just pop that up on the screen so you can see what that looks like. Okay, also for reading this year, I have my school year broken up into 4 different quarters. So quarter 1, 2, 3, 4. For quarter 1, we are focusing on Charlotte's Web, and I'm using the novel study from the WALDOCK way. So we are actually almost done with this book because we've just really been loving it. Afterwards, I plan to use the movie, or we plan to watch the movie, but there's a whole bunch of different things here. If you've never checked out the WALDOCK Ways cross-curricular literature studies, I would highly encourage you to do so, and I will link Jessica's YouTube channel down below. Okay, for quarter 2, we are going to be focusing on the Titanic. My daughter is very interested in the Titanic, and we again are using the WALDOCK Ways What Was the Titanic mini unit study. And so we are going to be reading I Survived the Sinking of the Titanic, historical fiction perspective. Okay, and then I have What Was the Titanic? So this is all of the nonfiction that we need to know about it. And then we have another book here, this one here that I picked up, and I actually think I got this from a yard sale or something. Titanic Disaster at Sea, just another really nice nonfiction sort of book, as you can see here. And then we have another one, I couldn't find it right now, but my daughter has been reading it like at bedtime, so it's probably in her room. It's one of those National Geographic all about the Titanic. So I'll pop that up on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about there. Okay, moving on to science. I have a whole bunch of different things here, and I'm going to go through each one of these. So right now for the first quarter, we are actually doing this, Ladybug Land. If you've seen any of my other videos, which honestly I only posted one other video so far, you can see us doing this in action. We got larvae, and now they're full-blown ladybugs. It's been super cool, and they have loved it. So this is our first quarter, learning for science. This here is kind of what your third grader needs to know. The science portion is kind of like my, what do you want to call it? Like a core sort of thing. So if we turn to the science section, here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be picking and choosing some of the things that are from here. I'm not going to do everything. So I am doing this right now with her. We are doing this classifying animals, vertebrates and invertebrates. You can see the human body is on here. Light and vision, sound and hearing, astronomy. We are skipping astronomy. You can see my little notes to myself. And we're doing weather in this skill sharpeners instead, because last year in second grade we did a lot of astronomy. Ecology, we're also doing this right now with how it's kind of tying in with like the Ladybug Land. And then it talks a little bit about pollution. So as I am doing this, just as an example here, let me see if I can pull it up. Let's see here. So we talked about a web of living things and producers consumers, and decomposers. And what I've just been doing is hopping on YouTube, seeing if I can find videos that go a little bit more in depth about these topics. And she watches the videos also. And then I found things on Teachers Pay Teachers also. So for instance, there was one activity where she was classifying the producers, consumers, and decomposers. And so I'm just finding things on Teachers Pay Teachers as we're going through this curriculum also. So with that, I'm using Evan Moore's Skill Sharpeners for Science. So this is the 3rd grade one. So you can see there's physical science, life science, and then like fossils. Again, moving on, earth science, which I'm going to be doing the weather part in here. And again, this is just another great tool that we're going to be using. And then also we are going to be doing From the Good and the Beautiful, their birds. My daughter loves learning about birds. We love feeding them and watching them and observing them. So this is their old version. I think they updated it. I bought this when it was like on sale, majorly discounted, and we've yet to even use it. So this is just what we are going to be using for one of our quarters. I think we're doing this in the springtime because then we can actually get more out of it when the birds start to come back and we're feeding them and things like that. I also did want to mention, if you saw on my iHip, my plan for my daughter, I'm combining history and health. We have to teach health every year. But anyway, from the WALDOCK Way, she has these discovery decks. So I'm going to be using the human body section from What Your Third Grader Needs to Know alongside with this discovery deck, again, from the WALDOCK Way. And they are just, these are the questions. And so Jessica has all these QR codes linked for these questions here. And then it links to a video on YouTube, and you just watch the video and you can decide how much further you want to jump into that topic by, you know, I don't know, doing an internet search and finding other things that your kid is interested in learning about. So that's what we're going to be doing for health also. All right, moving on to history and geography. If you've been following me, you know that my daughter has been doing this since grade 1. I've been stretching this out. This is like textbook style. It's from Knotgrass History. We love Knotgrass History, but it's just kind of too much like textbooky to do all in one year, at least for our family it is. I do love this. We do have states that we need to finish up. So we're basically just doing one state a week, and then we are using this Atlas workbook. My daughter absolutely loves this. So this was for Mississippi. So you basically just do whatever it says in the Atlas workbook, and it always has the state tree, bird, and flag, and then just some things that you also have read about in the text. So for instance, it talked about the lighthouses, and it talked about all of these things here. So we're working on that. This, What Your Third Grader Needs to Know, this is going to be like my spine or like my core. And so in here, what I love about this is that the first section is world history and geography, and then the second part is American history and geography. So I have that split up. The first half of our year is going to be world history and geography. The second half is going to be American history. And so it has just a whole bunch of different topics in here. And again, I am just supplementing with things from Teachers Pay Teachers, videos that are reputable sources. Okay, and so for instance, if I wanted my child to learn more about the Inuits, I could, you know, jump on the internet and find a reputable source to learn more about them because it has a little tiny ditty about the Inuits. One last thing that I did want to show you from the WALDOCK Way. Okay, so part of our history that we're going to be learning from here is about the Vikings. And I really don't know anything about the Vikings. So Jessica from the WALDOCK Way had this discovery deck about Vikings. And guys, she has tons of discovery decks. She was having a sale and I just purchased ones for things that I knew we were going to be doing. So again, here are the questions for the Vikings. And again, she just has QR codes to answer those questions, which link to videos. So that is really cool. And then for geography, I have this Skill Sharpeners grade 2. I actually think I got this in like a summer learning pack that we didn't finish up. And so just a bunch of skills that we are going to be looking at. So here's an idea of what is in this Skill Sharpeners. Okay. And there you have it. Again, this is a nice, colorful resource, practicing lots of different skills. And then lastly, for music and art, we do a ton of projects related to the, the holiday or the season of art projects. And then for music, we just do like music in our homeschool courses that are online. Lastly, I have this discovery deck from the WALDOCK Way, What is Art? And so we are using this also, and here are the questions for that. Okay guys, that about wraps up my third grade resources. I'm not quite sure what novels we are going to be reading for the third and fourth quarter for us to focus on really hone in those skills. We do read a lot of extra books. We're kind of working our way through the Little House on the Prairie series. We do read alouds throughout the day, things like that, stories at nighttime, whatever. There's just learning happening all over the place. We're constantly taking field trips. We just took a field trip to the Buffalo Naval Shipyard. Earlier in the summer, my husband took my 2 girls there, and then we literally just went back there again to look at the ships. So we're always doing stuff like that. So, just because I'm showing you like bits and pieces of curriculum, like I have evolved so much as a homeschooling mom to where I don't just do like an open and go curriculum. Not that I'm saying that that's wrong. That's a great place to start out with. But when you start to get to know your child, the way that they learn and things like that, then you can kind of tailor make your curriculum as you just saw me do. But honestly, whatever works for you and your situation and your circumstances is what is best for you, your family, your child. So I just want you to remember that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.